Hi guys, my name is Zin and this is Maybe Bonsai. Today I'm just going to take you through a general update with everything I have, including the air layers that I did, some of the seedlings, and everything else that's grown and things that I pruned. So let's see where we go. So we'll start with the pre-bonsai garden. And these maples, I'm not sure, I forgot which one it is, but I wired these before. It's not a video, I just did it just for fun, just to see how it goes. And I don't know if you can see it, but these have grown a lot, so that's a bite mark. The wires started, this one's really obvious right there. So I took all the wires off. Even this small one has bite marks everywhere. This here. So these guys grow really fast, so I took all the wires off. It's a bit crazy. The couple cedars I have here are doing fine. Not much change. They're growing out a lot, and I am going to let these guys grow this year. They need to get better roots and healthier roots before I do anything to those. There used to be a Japanese maple here, seedling from last year. Oh, sorry, I stepped into a pothole in my garden. But I took it out because it was dying. I don't know why it was dying, to be honest, but I think it was because there was too much sun. It was drying up from the bottom, so I'm not sure what happened. So these more native maples here are doing fine. They're growing lots of leaves. Quite slow actually growing. I thought they would grow a bit faster, but I guess I was wrong. And I guess we'll go this way. This is the Japanese maple that I aerated from last year. This one's growing nicely. As you can see, there's lots of branches coming out the one point, which I'm sure eventually I'll have to fix that, but I need this to grow bigger, develop his root systems better, gain more vigor before I do anything else. Here is the hammer maple that in the beginning of the year, this was just a this was basically just the trunk that you see here, this little thing here, that to there, that's it. And everything else has grown out this spring, in the last couple of months basically. Lots of long branches, not too elongated, but I'm going to let this grow. This is the one that's in the air fryer container pot. I don't know, the basket, that's its basket. So I'm going to see how easy it is to remove it and root prune it next season. So that's why I put it in the ground. And then I also have another one beside me here that's in a pot. And the same thing, this started as a, I'm going to remove this leaf actually, a very short trunk, about maybe 3 inches. Right there, that's the top, and as you can see, it's grown a lot, same as the one in the ground. And so far I'm not seeing too much of a difference between the tree in the ground and the tree in the pot. I mean, if anything, I would say the tree in the pot might actually grow more than the one in the ground, which is surprising. So I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's getting more water, I'm not sure. Anyway, those are the emmer maples. They're doing really well. And this is the dwarf burning bush, which I just made another cut on the trunk. I did it because I want more better taper, so I cut it back. And I read up on the burning bush today actually, and basically you could cut this thing to the ground and it'll come back. It's very vigorous. It backbuds really well. It's pretty much indestructible as long as you don't mess around with the roots too much during the growing season. So yeah, it's doing really well. Obviously the leaves are quite large, but next spring I'm going to repot this guy. There you can see the trunk. I'm going to repot this in bonsai soil, and hopefully from there I can reduce the leaf size year by year. So yeah, this I think this will look really nice in the fall because it's supposed to have really red leaves. So we'll see. Now moving on, this is the Regula that actually had a pretty big structure, trunk and branches and whatnot, but because this sprouted in the garage in the winter, and I thought, okay, I need to put it outside to put it back into dormancy, but that didn't work. I guess once it starts sprouting, you can't really force it to go back to dormancy. So because I did that, pretty much the entire tree has died except for this one branch. This was like about this tall before. You know, there was at least 3 times taller than the thing. I pruned all that away. I've got this, I don't know if this is a sucker or something that's growing from the bottom, but eventually, once I take this out, I have to kind of figure out what's going on there. But at least the tree is not dead. You know, something to be positive about. But it almost died. So that's a lesson learned. You know, you can't, I guess once it come out of dormancy, you can't put it back in the same year. This is the willow. It's some willow, I'm not sure exactly which one. I think this can use a pruning, I'm pretty sure. It's quite vigorous, and I'm told this buds back really well too, but I haven't pruned it, but I think I will very soon. It's just becoming really bushy, and I can see some of the leaves on the inside. It's starting to turn yellow, and I don't want that to happen. I want to keep the interior alive with, you know, lice going in. You can see some insect damage here with bites. So yeah, but it's growing really nicely. Here, this is the silk tree, which putting on some growth, which is nice. This here, that's sunburn from before, from the earlier spring. But the new leaves, as you can see, there's no burning on the new leaves. These are new. This is like half new, I guess. So yeah, it's growing. I honestly expected this to grow faster because it was growing really fast indoors, but it hasn't done that outside. It could be the temperature because, you know, we're still low teens Celsius at night, and I think that's why it's not going that fast. And this, I guess I better open. Actually, I'm not going to open this, but that's the one I repotted for. That's the sensitivity plant. But as you can see, it's not looking good. It had buds and stuff. It was green and now it's brown. So I think this is actually dying, if it's not dead already. I think it's because the temperatures are too low at night, and I didn't move this inside because I didn't think I needed to, but apparently I did. So that's not good. But beside it, it's a cutting that I got from it, and it's alive. That whole new leaf there, I don't know if you can see. I guess I'll remove this. So that new leaf, that's new. Before it was just a bud, and then that just came out. So that's alive, which is great. But this dying, not so great. But what can you do? You know, it is what it is. So let's move on. This was the maple that I collected this year. It was already leafed out during the spring, but I dug it out anyway and transplanted. It was fine. As you can see, it's growing. I'm sure it has stunted its growth because I dug it out. Oh, what's that? Maybe that's a branch I cut and it's healing? That's the first time I've seen that. It's like red inside. Anyway, so yeah, it's alive, growing really well, so I'm pretty happy about that. Here we got this Schefflera, Dwarf Schefflera, growing really well in this full sun now. No burning on this one. This one because I kept it in the shade for about 2 to 3 weeks, I think. And once I moved it to full sun, it seemed to do fine. It didn't have any burns. So I guess we'll have to every spring I have to keep these in the shade outside for 3 weeks or maybe more, and then move it to full sun to avoid any kind of leaf burn. And then that's just the vine, lots of leaf burns but lots of new growth as well. This is the, what is this? This is the honeysuckle, I think. At least it was identified by Nigel as a honeysuckle. I think it is. It's got a massive root trunk-ish thing. It's like a bush, and I'm still waiting on the bonsai tools to arrive, hopefully next month, and I can get rid of some of these dead woods. And this needs a lot of work to make anything out of it, and it also needs a prune. But I'm gonna wait for the tools to come and see what I can do with this thing. This is a larch forest, yeah, I think it's a larch, that I got from auctioning at a in the KW club, the Kitchener Waterloo Club. And this was the whole thing I won it for $15, which is a pretty good price, I think. I haven't touched it since. It's growing nicely, so I'll let it grow, and next year maybe I'll move it to a pot. This tree came dead, so that's not me. It came like that. So here we have the lavender. It's in flower. Hasn't really bloomed, but the flower buds are there. It's almost coming out. So everything is good with this, no complaints. All these branches are dead except for those, so I'll have to prune those eventually, but so far so good. That's a lychee tree. It is growing. I removed the wire because it was biting in a bit already, so I took that out, and it's coming out, so that's doing good. This is the ficus. What is this ficus? Tulip leaf maybe? I'm not sure. Anyway, it's got really small leaves. I don't know. I think when I bought it, there wasn't really a name. It was just this Ficus Benjamina. So yeah, it's doing well. I don't think the wire is biting in, at least from where I can see. So yeah, it's lots of new growth, which is great. So I'll have to keep an eye on the wire. I don't want stuff to bite in too much. And then this was the juniper I worked on last week. It's still alive so far. So here we have all the jades, the dwarf jades, the normal size jade, whatever jades you can think of. And they're all doing pretty good except for this one. This one is probably dying. I don't know. I guess the last repot was too harsh. I should have given it more time to recover before I did it. So yeah, that I think it's dying. I'm not fully sure, but I'll leave it, and we'll see. And then here you got the hibiscus. It's growing really well. There's a little bit of leaf burn on the tip, that white tip there. But that's the only leaf burn that I have with this tree or plant, and it has been growing fairly well after that. So we'll see where this goes. There's always that bottom sucker growing on the bottom there. Every time I pinch it off, it just comes out. So this time I just left it. I don't know what's up with that. But I think the next time I repot this, I'll kind of clip that area with the bonsai tools, so I can carve the wood out, and hopefully that'll stop the whole sucker growing. This is the other hibiscus, Snow Queen. It's put on all these new greener leaves, the brighter green are new leaves. It's still in this tiny pot, which I think I will need to eventually get this out of the small pot and move it to a bigger one so it can grow more. And this is I think the false cypress. I think that's what this is anyway. I wired this, pruned it, I think it was in the middle of winter, because I bought this in the winter, and I pruned it, wired it, and I left it in the garage, and then I took it out. So you can see the green tips are lighter color green. Those are all the new growth, so it's alive, so that's good. I'm just going to leave this to grow for now and see where it goes. Just going to de-weed this a bit. And here is the pomegranate or pomegranate. Again, it put up a lot of new growth. Before I trimmed it back to like maybe this tall, and all this elongated branches, these are all new. So it's got a lot of vigor. It just keeps growing, which is good. You know, I like that. So that'll probably need a prune back soon to keep it in shape, or maybe I could just let it go for a while and make the branch thicker if I do that. But yeah. So here we have the clump style, or we're trying to make the clump style Ficus Benjamina variegated. I had a ring, like a ring of wires to kind of squeeze these together, but I think that's don't need it anymore because it's nicely rooted out, and I think it's fairly established enough that I don't have to do that anymore. So I took the ring out, and everything is looking good on this. Each tree is alive. Every one of them is growing. I don't see any dead ones. So hopefully they'll fuse probably after another, I don't know how long. So yeah, that's doing well. This is another Ficus Benjamina. You can see the leaf burn on that. That's okay. That was from before. All these bright new green leaves are new leaves. And there's no burn on those. Those are just outdoor leaves, I guess you can say. There's a bit of burn on this one. Really large indoor leaves. I mean, compare the size. And this is the root over rock, or it's a mineral, or a mineral rock. I haven't touched it since the last time I kind of tried to touch it, but I can see there's a big root right there. So I think I will check on this soon, because I done this last year. I think maybe, I don't know, I forgot when I did it, but I have a video so I can always check back. But these colanders, I think they're, oh, look at that, that's a root. That's a root that came out of the colander from one hole and then went back into another one. But I have pruned the roots quite a bit, a few times. You know, they're supposed to air prune themselves, so I have to do it myself. But what I hear is that these colanders are really good for growing fibrous roots. So the next time that I repot this, I'll find out how good they are. But this, I want to take a look soon. But you can see the trunk. It doesn't look thick from here on the video. But if you compare this to the previous video, to the first time when I got it, it's probably doubled in size, I would say. This is a new tree that I got. It's a black spruce. I got this from Nigel on my visit to his place. And he's got a whole bunch of these, and he's like, you know, maybe you should take one and then try it out. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take one. So I'm just gonna let this grow this year. There's no to-dos. Next year, I think I'll repot this into bonsai soil. These guys, I said this was a cherry before, but I don't think it is, because it's looking like a maple or some kind of maple. I'm not sure what kind of maple, but very slow growing, whatever that is. This grows even slower, so I don't know what it is. I think it's a cherry again, but who knows. I was wrong about that one. I could be wrong about this one. But yeah, this is very, 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 very slow growing. What else here? Okay, so let's take a look at the seedlings that I have. Actually, before that, this is the Natal Ficus. Sorry, Natal Plum, not Natal Ficus. This thing basically moved into full sun after a week in the shade, and there's no burning at all. So it handles the transition really well. And you can see there's new growth on the tips. This was from Connor. It was during the Trump swap that I got this. So it's good to see that it's doing well. That's a Scheffler cutting, which is doing well. These are the pomelo seeds, which has finally started to grow more. You can see the leaf burn on this. And another couple of ficus that's in the smaller pots. They're all Benjaminas. But yeah, like I just kind of moved them in the shade for 2 weeks, and I moved them out, and you can see a lot of burns. But you know what, I'm done with the whole burning. London burned a few leaves. That's fine, they'll just grow new leaves. and eventually they'll get pruned back, so I don't mind. You know, they're just growing. There's nothing to do with those. And then this is that weed that I picked up in the field. I don't know what it's called. I don't know what it is, but it's growing. Before I cut it back, it looked nice, so I took it. So we'll go through some of the Japanese maple seedlings. This one, let me take it out. This one is probably the one that's growing the best, and I don't know why. What's so different about this particular one? But it came out in one of the containers that I had a whole bunch of seeds in, and I didn't expect this one to come out, but it did come out. And then eventually I realized that it was a Japanese maple, so I moved it out to a smaller container, and it has been growing pretty well ever since. So here are some of the other ones. These ones I'm pretty sure I collected from my neighborhood, and I eventually transplanted them, and they all look fine as well. So that's, this is really good news. They are growing a bit slower than I expected, but at least they're not dead. That's the Alberta Spruce that I wired before, which I wasn't sure what it was before, but I know it's a spruce now. It's growing. I actually pinched back a lot of the growing tips on this branch, because this was really thick, so I kind of wanted some the other parts to get more vigor, so I pinched those back, like, well, I'm not going to do it now, but I already did it this year, so I'll let that grow, and I think next year I'll pot that up in bonsai soil again. A lot of these needs to be transferred into bonsai soil. And then this one, this is a juniper, I think, and I videoed this. To be honest, I videoed this, and then I watched the video, and then I looked at the tree. I don't really like this shape. I mean, I don't know. It's just it's like a upside down L, like a top right corner, and I didn't really like it the way that I did it. But now it doesn't look too bad. But I don't know. I didn't really enjoy it, so I actually took that video out. But yeah, I'll just let it grow, and we'll see what happens later. Maybe I could style it better, but yeah, I don't know. I just didn't really like the results, so I didn't put out the video. So there's this Japanese maple seedling there. This one grew from this container, and it doesn't look good, but I don't really know why, because I haven't done anything to it. And I've been watering, just everything's regular, but for some reason this one's weak. I've noticed the Japanese maple seedlings, some are strong, some are not. It's all over the place. Okay, so here, this is the rest spider Japanese maple. It's growing nicely. I haven't done anything to this, and I don't think I will do anything to this. I need this to kind of thicken up, and then I'll try the air layer again. So here you can see the bottom, there's some new growth. Now this new growth is not on the right place. This is the trunk, but this is the trunk side. This side is the rootstock. It's not the cultivar. The cultivar is the rest spider at the top, and that's the rootstock at the bottom. So I can't have these, because what I read is that if you leave these on, there's a chance that they can take over the tree, and eventually your cultivar is gone, and all you're left with is a rootstock, which I don't know what the rootstock is. I think it's Acer palmatum, but I'm not sure. And it's weird, like these leaves, this is the regular leaves, right? The nice lacy leaves. And then you get some of these other leaves at the top, which looks like they're not so lacy. I don't know what's going on with it. Like these ones, they look like regular leaves, kind of, compared to these. So I'm not sure what the deal is with this. So I haven't done anything with it, but I'll keep an eye on it. This was an air layer that I actually videoed, and it's too bad that it failed. The top dried up. This was part of the top. It dried up. The first 2 weeks was fine, and then it started to slowly dry up for, I don't know why. I guess I'm told that that's just how air layers fail. The top just dies basically. So that sucks. And I cut it off, and you know, I don't know if anything's gonna sprout from the trunk here, but I'll leave it for now. This air layer, this is the Season of Change. Acer Sheraswaganum, I don't know, I can't pronounce that. But this one's doing fine. Nothing is dying, everything is normal. Air layers there. So I think this will be a success eventually. I haven't checked, and I think it's too early to check right now. And the bottom growth on this is coming from, I believe, the cultivar, but this one seems too low, so I'll get rid of that on the bottom. But you know what, I'll just get rid of these. I don't need it, and I won't take that chance to rub those off. So yeah, that's growing fine, which is great. This is a elderberry, one of the elderberry kinds. I'm not sure which one exactly, but it has a pretty decent trunk. I always wanted to get an elderberry, so I got this one. It has really dark leaves, as you can see, which none of my other plants have. So I thought that was kind of unique, and I got it. So we'll see where this goes. Here are some of the other seedlings. These are all collected from my neighborhood, and some are growing well. You can see, like this has multiple leaves, smaller leaves, but multiple leaves. And then this, you know, some of, like this one only has 2 leaves, some one has 4, this one's got 6 or more, again 4. So, you know, I don't know, it just, I don't know if it's the seed themselves or maybe the transplant process that was stunning its growth. But you know, just some let me just throw that worm over there. Some has better growth and some doesn't. And this is also growing quite slow, which I don't know why, but I thought these would grow really fast, but I guess not. Anyway, I'll move that back. That's another collected seedling doing well. And then let's make it over here. That's a worm that I just put in there. This is a seedling that, I don't know, it came out of this container, which is one of the seeds that I planted, but the leaves, you know, the initial 2 leaves dropped for some reason, so now it's left with a tiny leaf. It's not dead, but it's just not that strong. And I hope it makes it, but it's, yeah, it's, you know, not really doing much right now. Those let me try to get over here. Oh. So these 2 all grew out of this container, which means they are seeds that I planted from last year, same as that one there. So the 3 came out, plus that one's 4, and then for the other one like 5 or 6. So in total so far about 6 seedlings came out of the seed that I planted last year. I don't know how many, I don't remember how many, but there was like, I don't know, at least 20 to 30 seeds. Now they can still come out later on, they just haven't yet. So but so far these are the only ones, which is better than nothing. I'm pretty happy with what came out. This one I'm pretty sure is a native maple of some kind. It just came out of the container, which is fine. I'll grow that. You saw probably these large, I think they're junipers. I think they're junipers. This one and this one. These are trees that I not found, but I was walking my dog and one of my neighbors on the street. That's not on my street, but just in the complex. They were doing landscaping and they had these trees sitting in the corner in a couple of pots. So the story is that they were removing them and they were sitting in the pots for 2 weeks, no water, nothing. But I think they're still alive, or I'm not sure if they're still alive or not. They got a really old bark, you know. They've been in the ground for 10 years. They dug it out. This one and that one's got a nice character too. So I was like, okay, I'll get rid of these. You know, they don't want it, so I was like, I'll take them. You know, and so I took them home and potted them up. I'm not sure if they're going to survive or not, because I don't know if they were sitting there for too long and, you know, went too dry. But, you know, you can see the foliage are not looking so good. So I potted these up, and I hope they'll come back, but we'll have to wait till next year to see. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if they come back, because they got really mature trunks. So some of the other air layers that I have here, this is the Trident Maple. Can't see anything, of course. So that's the Trident Maple, just a Trident Maple, and there's no cultivars in this. And I'm told this was grown from seed. This one's doing fine. The air layers, it's been here for a month now, and the leaves are green, they're growing, which means that I think this one will eventually root, if it hasn't rooted already. I'm told that the first month is the hardest month for air layers, so if you make it through the first month, you're pretty much good to go. And so this is another air layer, the coral bark Japanese maple, and you know, that's the layer. Everything looks pretty healthy. The leaves has, you know, some damage because I sprayed for insects, and I don't know if it's the Windex that did it or the end all, which is it's just an insecticide that kind of damaged the leaves, but that's okay. The leaves will get replaced next year, but I just couldn't have the insects going around. It was just doing damage to everything. And this one, another air layer. This is the Arakawa, Acer Arakawa. It's growing quite nicely. This has also been here for a month, so I think this will root, no problem. The leaves, it used to be like that, where the leaves are horizontal to the branches, you know, more or less horizontal, right? They're flat. But for some reason, these are all kind of facing down or drooping. I don't know what you want to call these. And in one of my meetings, Connor mentioned that this is, it could be because of overwatering, which maybe I was doing, because I was watering the general area, so everything is water in a way. And I'm not really sure, but so I kind of stopped doing that, and you know, but then it rained, so you know, we'll have to see in a few days or a week and see if the conditions improve or not. I'm not sure if this is bad or good, but at least they're not drying up. If they're drying up, that means the air layer didn't make it, so that's good. I'm super worried now because of the other one that dried up. This is the Acer, okay, yeah, this is the what you gonna call it, Trident Maple. Is a cultivar, Wako Nishiki. The leaves come out white and then they eventually turn green, or whatever, variegated green. This was really slow growing, I think because the temperature wasn't high enough, and this tree requires higher temperature than the other ones. But ever since it has gotten hot, everything came out nicely. It's growing quite vigorously. I'm gonna have to let this grow at least probably for another year before I do any kind of air layer, because the cultivar starts right there. That's where the graft is. You can see the two different trunks. So that's, you know, that's a really thin trunk. So I'll have to wait probably 3-4 years before I air layer this, maybe. Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how much it grows and how big it gets, how thick it gets. Okay, so I think we have gone through mostly everything. This is a couple ivies that I had. This was that triple trunk ivy. I moved that outside in the shade. So far there's no leaf burn, which is great. That's just another one that's growing. It's just an ivy. You know, anyone can grow those. Yeah, here we have a couple of ficus. This was just a regular, I didn't have anything in here. It's just a regular ficus that I have one of my cuttings. And again, the trunk has thickened up quite a bit. There's a good view. This was half the size, if not less than that before when I bought it, which is less than a year ago, so it's grown quite a bit. This is again another ficus. It's got some leaf burns. That's okay, we got lots of new leaves. So, you know, this has been sitting in the shade. I just moved them out not too long ago. That's a Schefflera cutting, which got some burns, but you know, it's growing now, so that's okay. This was an oak that I picked up. So far it's, I don't really know if it's dead or alive. I mean, it hasn't gotten all brown, so we'll see how that goes. So let's head to the front yard, and I'll show you the air layers from the front. There's a couple of them, or several of them. So we'll check the Acer palmatum, whatever. I'm not sure what cultivar this is, but this is one that I'm doing at the top because this shoot just came out of nowhere and I need to get rid of it. So perfect for air layering. So this one, as you can see, growing really well. Branches are going everywhere. And then this one I'm sure will root because it's been a while, been a month at least. And this I'm actually going to give it to my neighbor, and then I'm air layering one of his trees, another Japanese maple. I think it was a bloodgood, which is the most common that we have here. And then I'll get that one. Hopefully that one, I haven't checked on that one, but that one should be okay. I did another air layer at the bottom here because I wasn't sure if this was the same tree as that. There might have been a, what should I call it, graft, but I don't think there is. But you know, one of my neighbors mentioned they might be, so I thought I aerated this part as well. And this thing is getting really, just, it's too big, you know, there's no light going inside. I gotta get rid of some branches. So, you know, here, this is what I'm talking about when I say things dry up. See that? They're all dried up. So this, I'm sure, is a failed air layer, which is too bad because I really wanted this one to be successful. One, because this is an expensive tree, and two, you know, this is one with the pink leaves and the white pink, really nice looking. But as you can see, the bottom is growing fine. It's just the top that's dying, and you know, it is dying. Right? There's no signs of life. The color, it's kind of not good color. So I am going to prune this off very soon, because there's no point keeping it on anymore. I don't know why these dies, to be honest. Maybe I cut too deep. Maybe, you know, maybe I cut too much into the wood, that I cut off some of the nutrient flows, or if it's something else, I just don't know. Yeah, when the other one failed, I opened that up and there's basically nothing. You can't tell. Like everything looks normal, just no roots. So I don't know, I guess there's some luck involved with the air layering, and this was just not lucky. Anyway, this is the Acer palmatum dissectum, the most common kind. I don't know what the name is, but you know, if the nursery has Japanese maples, this would be one of them. This branch, at least this part, kind of died, I think, because the leaves dried up only on this one branch. But I mean, the buds are, you know, coming out at the other spots. I'm not sure why, but this, I had my roof done. This happened after the roofing job, so I don't know if it's related or not. It's all dried up, so I'm pretty sure this whole branch is dead. So I'm gonna cut this off soon. But this air layer involves this top here, which is a big branch. Everything is looking good on this. The leaves feels fine. There's new growth, so that's good. This is the other half, which is another massive branch, lots of leaves. So I think this might make it, hopefully. But it's looking good so far. And when I do cut this off, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get rid of this entire thing on the right. It's just way too big, and I'll have to cut this back as well. It's too big, and I'll develop my branches afterwards. So yeah, so hopefully this will work. So far so good, but you know, we're not at the end, so you never know. What's going on here? Okay, so last one is the Iterator on the Ginkgo here. So this air layer is on this big branch, that whole branch that's shaking right now, as you can see. And obviously I'm going to cut most of it off when I take this off. So this is doing really well. As you can see, everything is alive. The leaves are the right colors. They feel nice. They don't feel dry. Except for that one. And yeah, it's nice and moist. So I think this will work. I just don't know how long it will take. And because I wrapped this with a pot, I can't really see. So I'm going to wait until maybe July or end of July or maybe halfway August, and I'll check to see the progress of this. But I think I'm pretty sure this will be fine because the branch looks fine, you know, everything looks good. So, you know, yeah. Okay, so that's all the trees, all the updates, everything I have pretty much. The forest is actually inside in my bedroom because I need them to root. So I need a more drier environment. I've been misting the moss every day, like every couple hours, trying to mist it and keep it green. And so far it's green. It's been in there for 3 to 4 days. But I don't know, now I think about it, Dracaena is probably not the best plant to go with moss if you want to keep the moss green, because you can't really water it too much, because Dracaenas, they don't really like the water too much, not much. And the moss, you got to keep them wet, which means you have to mist. And you know, you have to mist really often for it to keep it green. So yeah, anyway, you know, you live, you learn, right? All right guys, that's all for this week. Thanks for watching.